Jackie Im.
My name is Anuradha Vikram.
And we are the co-curators of the 2024 Oregon Contemporary Artists Biennial.
Ablaze with Our Care, its ongoing song. Jackie and I are really excited to bring you this biennial. We have curated 23 artists from Oregon and Southern Washington. As part of the biennial, we are presenting a number of public programs and performances in addition to the works in the exhibition. The theme of our exhibition is Networks of Care. We were inspired coming out of the 2020 COVID-19 pandemic to think about the role that art plays in society as a tool of social cohesion, as a mode of connection, as a way of processing and articulating our experiences. And thinking about that and talking with artists here who have been so welcoming and so generous, that we've really learned a lot about how communities of people and networks of care sustain the artists that are working here in this region and the artists in our exhibition. So we wanted to honor that with our theme and also with the format of our exhibition, which we seek to present to you as a kind of an offering for your own care in the care of these artists and us.
Carla Bengtson's Other Nations installation piece features a multimedia work of scent, video, a floor installation, glasswork, and performance, which follows her research on non-human animal communications. It was important for us to include the way that humans interact with nature, but also the way that animals interact with each other. The research is based around the California ground squirrel and their methods of communicating and their methods of camouflage. Meech Boakye has created Textures of Infinity, a takeaway piece for the biennial, which she calls a gift. Viewers are invited to take a seed packet of calendula seeds that were collected at local farms and community gardens around Portland. The work stems from her larger practice of multi-species collaboration and publishing, and she invites people to take the seeds and to plant them in their own gardens and pass the seeds on at the end. As you enter through the gallery, you will cross the threshold created by Srijon Chowdhury's Sigil Gate. The gate features the words from a poem by William Blake called Divine Dance, which states, "Desperate fear burns eyes open, our love protects." For this exhibition, Srijon invited artists from Al Rizan Art Museum in Palestine to be part of this exhibition, giving these artists a space where they are having difficulties showing their work at the moment. For the biennial, Epiphany has created a work called Burdened with More Beautiful Things, an installation piece that explores how ideas of home, survival, and exclusion are interconnected and how these themes can alter and affect our acceptance and participation in community. Much of her work deals with her history and background as a Puyallup, Yakima, and Scandinavian European artist. It deals a lot with repercussions of family secrecy and cultural disconnection that have taken on ancestral reverberations to her generation and the generation that comes after her. Megita Denton's 3 works in the exhibition all use discarded materials as these anchors to symbolize different relationships, different emotions, different places through her work. Each of the materials she uses have a representation or are imbued with the energy of the history of these materials, whether it's wood or dog fur or alfalfa. She creates the work as places to channel these histories and energies.
Michael Espinoza has created a billboard for the exterior of Oregon Contemporary. The work addresses the history of cruising in Portland and location that is undisclosed, that is both a popular cruising site and also a declared Superfund cleanup site, which speaks to the way in which our activities outside of the mainstream of society are often pushed into spaces that are not well cared for by our society. As part of the biennial, we will be activating the exhibition with live performances on every first Saturday. We will begin in May with the poet Cliff Taylor, who has been collaborating with our artist Epiphany Couch, who'll do a reading during the reception for the exhibition on first Saturday in May. We will also have 2 off-site presentations. We have an exhibition at the Portland Chinatown Museum curated by our biennial artist Horatio Hong-Yun-Law, which celebrates the Artist in Residence program that he created for that museum that highlights artists of the Chinese diaspora in Oregon. We were really interested in that history and in Horatio's career as an artist and an organizer, and so we invited him to present a version of that exhibition within our exhibition as an AR experience. We also have an off-site project with Chimæra, which is a collective that will be housed at a space called I Love Youth 2. They'll be doing youth activities throughout the biennial run, and they'll also have created an artwork that lives in the front window of the I Love Youth 2 space, and that can be viewed by visitors to the mall as well as by youth who are coming to engage in the workshops and programs. In June, we're going to have live performances outside in the courtyard. We will have Method's Body and Maxx Katz. Method's Body creates work about the human condition. This project is about stuttering and uses the form of the stutter as a meter for the composition of music with a group of people who live with this condition.
On, process of maneuvering which words. 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 tuttered on my name, and that was considered suspicious activity.
Yelling Choir by Maxx Katz is an invitation for people who usually don't feel encouraged to experience or express anger or states of high energy to participate in a choir that's not about singing necessarily. It's not all yelling, but yelling strategically, yelling in a really intentional manner. And it's a wonderful experience to witness and also to participate in. In June and July, Marcus Fischer will be leading workshops in tape loop making, which is a form of sound art that is developed using what used to be a really popular and is now pretty archaic technology, the cassette tape. We also have Vo doing body work and very direct actions of care and one-on-one sessions that members of the public can sign up for. That will also be followed by a live performance by Bean Gilsdorf at our partner location, Pica. And that'll be a lecture performance based on her extensive research into the economic conditions of support that contextualize the lives of Oregon artists.
While there's no denying that the concrete data that comes from these studies, these facts and figures and firm numbers around benefits, is very useful for making an argument about why this whole domain should be politically and culturally recognized. In study after study, you'll notice that the emphasis is on producing quantifiable outcomes. How many art patrons vote? How often do event attendees volunteer? By what percentage does painting enhance engineering test scores? And so on. Which shifts the focus from the production of art to the consumption of art. The way that these studies are conceived, performed, and evaluated directs our attention to what patrons and audiences and consumers do with art. So they look at the effect rather than the cause. And as a result of that, we end up completely losing sight of the very people who made it all happen. And this is where we need to look at a very subtle but pernicious linguistic phenomenon, one that is creating a very serious complication for artists. Within most of these studies, there appears to be a strange reticence to name where the arts actually come from. I mean, this is where the term adrift really points to how completely unmoored artists are, even within arts organizations. Consider this model from a National Endowment of the Arts research publication entitled How Art Works. There is a central element labeled arts creation. It is the agent that brings all of the other components into play. Take that one element away, and there would be no interdependent vital effects. Yet one of the most powerful arts institutions in the United States euphemistically calls this catalyst arts creation instead of artists. As though all those paintings and photos and sound installations and inscrutable performances just appeared one day by magic.
So in July, we will have a pretty full program. We have the Uwu Collective running a series of group activities meant to calm and soothe and energize and care for us. We will have artist Sarah Rushford doing a writing exercise based on the methodology she's developed for her videos, which are collectively written with the participants who are filmed for them. We'll have Carla Bengtson, who has an installation here in the gallery that will be activated by live performers who will be performing a choreography based on the communication methods of lizards and ground squirrels. In July, we'll also have a live performance by Tyler Stoll, who is organizing a participatory protest march in favor of placidity. So against the patriarchal dynamics of hierarchical power, he advocates for something softer in the masculine. We will invite people to participate, and Tyler will lead a protest around the neighborhood to, maybe contrast a little of the heft of our local Paul Bunyan over here. Our final program for the biennial will be a performance at the Albina Green, coordinated by biennial artist Anne Greenwood, that will involve several live musicians and also a site-specific installation related to the wonderful handmade artist book that she has in the gallery.
Anne Greenwood's textile artist book, Shapes of Land, contains a series of landforms, lakes, plains, plateaus, arches, hills that are depicted through her textile work and embroidery alongside prose by poet Mauricio Rioseco Milano. They talk about how we commune with the land, how we are affected and shaped by the land, and how we in turn shape the land. Bridgette Hickey's Who Remembers Love at the River's Edge is almost like a dimensional quilt that she's created for the gallery. In the creation of this piece, she spoke with a lot of community elders and asked them for their stories of how do they heal themselves, how do they heal others. And so much of that work is imbued with these conversations. In the short video piece, you can see one of the elders that she spoke with. All of the fabrics were dyed with plants that Bridgette grows in her backyard and in other people's backyards. And the colors that she's able to produce with these plant-based dyes create a very earthy, watery scene and almost a landscape. Rainen Knecht's Gorgon Three Graces is a screen of interconnected paintings. When she proposed a project for the exhibition, She spoke about wanting to create a screen, of creating sort of a dimensional work. What this work does is she has sort of created these almost paper cutout figures that are holding each other, which she says mimics the way that protesters link arms as a protection. Many of her paintings deal with motherhood and womanhood within her work, and dealing with rage and frustration, but also joy and happiness. So these paintings contain a lot of conflicting emotions, but also have so much vibrant color and energy to them. Morgan Ritter is showing a series of ladybug drawings which emerged from a dream that she had during COVID-era lockdown. The ladybugs emerged to her in a dream, and she began drawing them as little maps as she traced her route within her home as she went from her bedroom to the bathroom, to the kitchen, to the desk, to the garage where her studio is. Much in the same way that we were all tracing our own steps within our home while we couldn't go outside. Sarah Rushford is showing a single-channel video that features two actors speaking with one another as they say a poetic dialogue they have written. The two actors, Julene Yunsun Johnson and Bridgette Pagador, have written a poem with Sarah. Each actor says the poem that the other actor has written wearing large headphones that was playing the recording of the other actor speaking. The script was made by weaving the two individually written poems that weren't revealed to them until the recording took place, featuring a scene of active listening and repetition while also surprise.
If anyone is sleepy, then let her sleep. A string, hair, the sun, each an act. Sound effects, silence. The use of noise is noise. Is it noise? Performance is not just picking up one foot and setting it down. It is? At the fire line, walk into it. I wish I could be yours. Retrace, retrieve. Where did you learn that? Elk woke here once, slid from view, walking down the dunes.
Patricia Vázquez Gómez is showing Ja, which means water in Yucatec Mayan, is part of a long-term project of Vázquez Gómez, where she has been working with the Mayan-speaking community in Portland. The space is a completely dark space that you enter in, which recreates the conditions that the piece was created, where the youth were blindfolded when they were recording and were encouraged to chant and sing the words that they had written. Vovo's textile piece explores the way settler colonialism has become a sort of black hole in our lives and throughout history, how it sucks away our resources, the way that the legacies of settler colonialism has impacted communities and peoples throughout history. Her installation shows a rift in the middle of these energies that are fighting each other and trying to repair themselves. For Vo, much of her work as an artist and as a healer is about how do we care for each other through these historical wrongs that have been done by many communities.
We've noticed that artists in the biennial want to share the resources that they're given, that they want to include other artists in their projects, that they want to give a voice and a platform to those that don't have a voice or a platform. And so they really want to share their success. And I think that's where the spirit of community really emerges, is in this generosity. Because it's not just about other artists or other people in their immediate community or even in the global community. It's also about ancestors, and it's about the ecological world and other species. And that kind of relation is really powerful and very motivating for us.
Yeah, the exhibition is so much about entanglements and how we are entangled with each other, how we are entangled with the places that we live, how we are entangled with our ancestral histories and with other creatures. What's been so rewarding about this exhibition is how each of the works reverberates these themes of entanglements throughout each other, and even in the look of the exhibition as well.